All right, welcome to our fireside chat. I'm Amanda Farough. I am the co-founder of F Squared and the co-host on the Virtual Economy podcast, which is about the business of games for the rest of us. I'm joined today by Greg Borrud, who is the general manager for the Los Angeles Niantic studio. How you doing today, Greg?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. We're
Great.
going to chat today about Niantic, AR, and how location driven entertainment has been affected by our current societal circumstances. So, Greg, but I
Okay.
want to talk about you first.
Oh, all right.
You have had a storied career, and I want to know
Oh,
all about it. You have worked at Activision. You have founded two studios, and I want you to take us through your origin story. I love origin stories.
oh,
So
you do?
what's yours? I love
No,
them. They're
no.
so great.
Well, keep your expectations low. Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry, I can't. I'm an incurable hype monster.
I well, good. I do. I am very, very lucky. I always say I got in the industry at the right time where there are very few people in the industry. So it was relatively easy when I started back in 1995. I was actually kind of working in the film and television business. And this is back in the day when they were doing full motion video games. And so I was on a film
Ah,
shoot. So I was on a film shoot on the film side for a full motion video CD-ROM game for Capcom, and I started thinking, I'd like to,
hmm.
instead of being on the film side, I would love to be on the video game side. So I started applying early on, and I got a job at Activision in the early days at Activision when kind of the main product working on was MechWarrior 2 back then, and so yeah, I got a job then, and it was an incredibly exciting time to be in the industry. It was all PC. I remember Windows 95 coming out, which was really exciting, and how we were going to deal with that. And so,
Having native sound.
oh, right. I mean, yeah. And then start thinking about networking and dial up modems. And so it was really raw, but really fun. And 3D was just starting to come in. So it was, and I met so many, honestly, a lot of my friends in the industry I met from Activision back in 95. And it was just such a great collection of people there. And did a number of products at Activision. It was really more in the real-time strategy genre at that time on PC, and
Hmm.
spun out with a couple of friends to start Pandemic Studios in 1998. Kind of the unfortunately named now Pandemic Studios.
It's
Um,
only a little unfortunate. What inspired you to jump ship and start your own studio?
Honestly, Activision at the time was building all of their products internally, and I think it was probably around that time where Activision said, let's start working with some external groups. They started working with id, for example. They started working
Mm.
with Neversoft, and so it was like, instead of doing all this work internally, let's maybe transition externally. So we actually had a great opportunity to take our teams and spin out from Activision to start Pandemic. And we started with two of our games that we developed internally at Activision, which was Battlezone for RTS, and also Dark Reign, two RTS games. So we had this amazing start to spin out of the studio and take our teams with us. We were relatively small, about a dozen people, and then continue to develop these products for Activision. So that was our start. And we quickly, as the industry evolved at that point, consoles really started becoming the thing. So as a studio,
Mhm.
we evolved from a PC shop into a console shop, and that's when we really started moving into what would define Pandemic Studios, which was games like Star Wars Battlefront, Mercenaries, Destroy All Humans, Full Spectrum Warrior, just a great Saboteur, a great run of products for consoles. Originally PS2 and Xbox, and then on to PS3 and Xbox 360, and really a focus on action games, open world games, and then started partnering with BioWare, and then joined up with EA. So that period of my career was just an incredible, exciting time. And again, working with just some amazing people who, when pandemic was shut down in 2009, those people just spread throughout the industry. And I just have great connections to great developers in some of the best studios around the world, honestly. So it was an exciting time for sure.
It was an exciting time to be a gamer because the original Star Wars Battlefront, legitimately one of my favorite Star Wars games.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, mine too. I loved it. It was so fun to work on Battlefront 1, and then onto Battlefront 2 1 year later.
Mm.
We do believe that there is a jinx that Battlefront 3 can and never will be created, because I know we have looked at it and many other teams have looked at it. So we'll see if EA can ever break the curse. But we do
If
have
anyone can, It might
That's right.
be EA.
We do have a cursed theory on Battlefront 3, but we hope that is not the case. But I obviously love that franchise and really love, obviously, the Star Wars IP. So, um, yeah, so then about that time, honestly, the industry was really changing quite a bit. And that's when we started up Seismic Games. It was really around 2000, at the end of 2010, 2011. The idea is like, let's take all this expertise of building products. Let's take these people that we really love working with, a lot of our partners, and start looking at the new platforms. So at that point, it was social, Facebook there for a hot minute for us, and that was about
Yep.
it. And then we were right on to mobile, and iOS and Android, and it was just an incredible the next phase of kind of our evolution, and working with Activision on some Call of Duty products, working with Activision on some Skylanders products. And then I think the big push was when we started developing Marvel Strike Force for Kabam, turned into Aftershock, turned into Fox Next, turned into Disney, and I think they're Scopely now. So that whole partner that we worked through, but we were partnered with them to do the development for Marvel Strike Force, and that was an amazing time for us, getting into mobile and really sinking our teeth into mobile for about 7 or 8 years, and really understanding free to play, understanding kind of those play dynamics, understanding live ops in a way that we'd always done multiplayer, but live ops at a whole nother level for us. So
Oh,
that was
absolutely.
really kind of the good portion of the 2000s.
That's fantastic. So what were some of your biggest takeaways throughout your work at Seismic?
Honestly, is that the world is changing really, really fast, and what we define as a platform is changing even faster. So we started on social, as I mentioned. We went on to mobile, and then we started doing VR. So we did a Blade Runner project with Google that we were really excited about, a Blade Runner VR game, which it's hard to find. If you can find it, it's great. It's like an adventure game in VR, incredibly
And
fun.
it's Blade Runner.
Yeah, and it's Blade Runner. So we love big IPs. And then we worked on another project, which is again completely different for us. But we started working with Disney Imagineering. They came to us with Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars land at
That's
Disney
rad.
Land and Disney World, and we worked with them to help develop the Millennium Falcon ride, Smuggler's Run. So what
Wow.
started happening is we started seeing gamification or games kind of everywhere in all shapes and sizes. And so when we
Mhm.
started thinking of, let's get less focused on the platform, but really focused on the entertainment product, that we have an expertise, we have incredible engineers, artists, designers, and a real passion for looking for new areas to kind of create this new forms of entertainment, which ultimately is what really led us to Niantic. Because from our perspective, Niantic was really on the forefront of almost inventing a whole new, not just a new genre, but a whole new way of interacting and playing games, and almost like, in my perspective, like almost a new entertainment vertical. So that's really what brought us to Niantic.
That's awesome. Then that leads me right into my next question is, how has Niantic shaped the work that you do on a daily
Oh,
basis?
wow. I mean, it's completely transformed the way we think about game design, the way we think about the world, honestly. And it's both scary and exciting, because there's a certain thing about a game designer, you kind of like to, like, for example, let's take Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront is a great game, I think. It's Battlefield 1942. We were all playing Battlefield 1942. We loved the game. We're like,
Such a good
like,
game.
what do we take this and put it on a console with like, so that's an easy thing to grok, right?
Totally.
But with Niantic Games, and honestly, John Hankey, our CEO, he really is a visionary in this kind of stuff,
Mhm.
pushes you to do things that people have never done or seen or played before. So on one hand, that's really exciting because you love to kind of just have this blue sky. But on the other hand, it is kind of scary, intimidating. Like, what will work, what doesn't work.
Mhm.
So we think a lot about what will get people really motivated by our pillars, and our pillars are pretty clear. It's all about exploration, finding, discovering and getting out and finding new places. It's about exercise, which honestly for a game company is pretty foreign to a lot of us, but exercise is a core fundamental principle of the company, which I love, honestly. And it's about
True.
social, and it's
Mhm.
about not just social, like connecting with your friends online to play, but social with like actually connecting with people in the real world, and doing these, adventures. Like, to me, the pinnacle, once we were eventually our studio was acquired by Niantic, one of the first things we did is we went to Chicago for Pokemon Go Fest, which was again tens
Ooh.
of thousands of people in a park in Chicago playing a game, and it was just such an eye-opening experience to the potential, and because everyone is in this park having so much fun, all shapes and sizes and different type. I mean, just such a broad demographic of people having a blast, having the shared social experience. So that really encapsulated those pillars for us: that exercise, exploration, and social in that event. And now it's us as game developers thinking about other ways we can try to implement that. Not just, okay, let's just do Pokemon Go and reskin it. Like, how can we think about this in all different types of genres, all different types of games, appealing to a really, really wide demographic. So that's what brought us in, and that's what challenges us, and that's what makes it really, really exciting.
That's amazing. And again, I mean, this again, you're so good at segueing for me, I barely have to do it
Oh,
myself. This is so good, I love it. So, Niantic's approach to location-driven entertainment through augmented reality, of course, has really made huge waves, like you said. This is a completely different way of interacting with games, it's a different way to encourage pro-social behavior. But we're in the middle of a pandemic.
mm,
So, in the middle of a pandemic that has required us to shelter in place instead of catching Pokemon or defeating dark wizards.
mm.
So, how has Niantic had to evolve its games in order to take care of its audiences?
Yeah, I mean, it's been challenging. I'll be honest. It's really been challenging. The first thing as a developer was really looking after our employees. Making
Mm,
sure that we could safely and properly have people continue to work and develop our products while they're dealing with just like crazy stuff. So that was kind of really the first initiative, was let's make sure that we have all our employees taken care of, and we can kind of set up this remote work process. And honestly, the teams really were amazing, both our development teams and our cross-functional teams. Then it was thinking about the products, and I think this is going back to like that Go Fest event. Niantic uniquely has these great tools to be able to kind of modify things and change things as we need. For example, the last summer I was at the Harry Potter event in Indianapolis, and I remember I was kind of in the HQ of the War Room, right? And there was this rogue thunderstorm, that this one cloud that seemed to just be moving towards our park, right? And they're all looking at the radar things, and they can see what's happening. And the game is such a way that they can adapt the gameplay in real time with everybody who's playing to account for this variable that no one can control. And I think that's the deal with
that's
working with real.
phenomenal.
Yeah, so when you have these real world games, you have to be able to be really nimble. And so I think the first thing that our teams did, which was just amazing to see, is they went in and they did a lot of really quick changes to make sure people could play from home. Whether that was adjusting spawn rates, the type of things that spawn, the types of activities that you do. So really within hours or days at the most, we're able to make these kind of rapid changes. It then moved in kind of to the next order of changes. And for a Pokemon Go, this is our kind of remote raid feature. For Harry Potter, it's our night bus feature, which is what are those content that people love to engage with the most. How can we allow them to engage with it while they're kind of safe at home and in quarantine? It's done in a way, hopefully, where we can preserve the magic of the Niantic exploration or pillars, but also clearly acknowledging the times we live in. So, we're excited how those are rolling out. And those are, I mean, so we're just starting with them, and we're going to continue to evolve that as a core principle of what we're doing. And then that goes into our summer events. Summer events for Niantic it's a huge thing for us, and something we're
They're
incredibly excited
enormous.
about. Yeah, and we're having to rethink that. Obviously, we can't have tens of thousands of people in a park this summer. So, the concept generally is, instead of us bringing all these players, to our park to play Pokemon Go, what if we take that Go Fest experience to all of our players wherever they are throughout the world? So
Hmm.
those are the things we're working on right now. And how can we allow you to activate your own event wherever you live? And so it's that kind of thinking from the development teams, from our marketing teams, from our event teams, that are I've just been really incredible. I've just been incredibly proud of how the teams have responded to this, and the community has been very supportive. And I think these are the things we need. I love entertainment. I'm watching so many movies and so many documentaries and so many, like everything right now, gaming so much right now.
Totally.
It's just that escape that I need. And I'm glad that we were able to kind of take our products that should live in the world and will live in the world always, but allow them to kind of be played locally.
So what are some of Niantic's more exciting projects that you can talk about? You know, we're talking about what's currently out in the wild, so to speak, but what kinds of titles can we talk about, and what kinds of technology is Niantic working toward?
No, I I wish there's so much I would love to talk about on the product side. I mean, that's honestly one of the reasons Seismic was brought in, because we know how to build products, and we have a lot of products in development right now. What I will say is, we're looking across kind of the wide genre of games that are out there, and we're wanting to make sure that we have a Niantic game in there that really appeals to everyone. The way I think about it for myself is, I've got my wife and my two kids that are 11 and 12, and in my ideal world, I have a Niantic product for each of us. We all
Mhm.
four of us, we all play Pokemon Go. That's a given, right?
Of
But where
course.
my son might, be attracted more to esports, and I might be attracted more to open world, and my daughter might be more into lifestyle games. Like, we want to make sure that we're creating a slate of products that really has something in there for everyone. So we have quite a few products in development right now. Anything from hardcore, midcore esports, all the way to, I'm not even sure you call them a game. They're more like a lifestyle app, and everything in between, whether it's thinking about sports or thinking about, action, or thinking about, this with the space of immersive experiences. So I would say we have a really wide slate. One product I know I'm really excited about, that we're testing right now, I literally play every single day, is Catan World Explorers, which is taking that
Ooh.
board game, that great Catan board game, which honestly, during quarantine, our family's playing all the time as well. Board game, we're playing a ton of board games right now. But that game, the idea of taking a board game like Catan and having that playable on a worldwide stage is great. It's super super fun. The visuals are stunning. Like, the art style is just, I still hold it up there as one of the greatest things ever. So that's one that we're getting close to soft launching, and I anticipate that will be launching soon. But honestly, with all of our products, including Catan, we're also having to be really reflective of what is our play of home at home mechanic. We still, our core principles of playing in the real world are important, but how are we going to be playing at home? So those are things that all of our products are going through right now. So we'll have a lot more to talk about in the near future, but I know right now Catan is the one I'm playing every single day, and I can't wait to get out there into the real world.
That's awesome. So let's look ahead then.
Yep.
Since there's a lot that we can't change about our present circumstances, let's look forward. So when things reach relative normality again, what do you envision for Niantic's future? And how will AR continue to grow and change as a result of both technological and societal evolution?
Like, that's one of the things about Niantic that, it's, for myself as a game developer, is really interesting and exciting, is that Niantic, especially spawning out of Google, is as much a tech company as much as it is a game company. I mean, I think of it as a game company because I'm a game developer. Most people think about it as a game company because of Pokemon Go and Harry Potter and Ingress. But there is honestly, a huge group of people, some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, working on technology and working on the platform and working on AR tech. So it is things about are looking towards the near future, whether
Mhm.
that's mono depth or segmentation, just an understanding of the world through AR technology that we're starting to develop. Those are all going to start appearing in our games. But in the further distance, whether it's through computer vision or machine learning, we're trying to build a 3D map of the world, and really have this idea of this world understanding, which then as a game developer is incredible. So those are things that we're looking at for the future. And then as you start to think about this kind of world we live in, things like co-presence and telepresence and all those things might become a part of what the platforms of the future are. So the way we're thinking about it is, right now we're in this world that's driven mostly by mobile. But what are those platforms of the future, whether it's wearables or living in this world that's been captured in real time and constantly updated? That's where we are right now. That's the 5 to 10 year vision that the company is focused on and investing really heavily in. And for myself as a game developer and a game maker, and I know for our teams, that's an exciting and scary future because no one's made games in those spaces necessarily, but we feel incredibly lucky to be have an opportunity to do that.
That's brilliant. I'm so glad that you were able to join us for this conversation, Greg. We're going to turn it over to Q&A now, where we are going to take some questions from the audience, but this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great chatting with you.
It was wonderful chatting with you too.